Today we are going to start this part, Iranian and Macedonian invasions. With respect to this chapter, this is the exact UPSC syllabus. UPSC mentioned exactly this line. But as of now, questions have not come directly from this particular topic. In last 44 years, not even a single question came from this particular topic. But the understanding of this topic is very, very crucial to understand later invasions. Later we are going to see in post-Mauryan period, so many invaders like Hunas, that is during Gupta time period. Before Gupta time period, during post-Mauryan time period, we are going to see Shakas, Kushanas, Parthians. So many people are going to come to the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. And during medieval time period, Ghazni invasions, Ghurid invasions, and later led to the rise of Delhi Sultanate. After Delhi Sultanate, we are going to see once again invasions in the form of Mughals. All these have similar characteristics, almost similar characteristics, similar goals, and similar consequences. That is why this particular topic is very, very important, because for the first time in history, this development is going to take place, and hereafter, multiple times in our history, it is going to be repeated. Before that, first we need to draw this map. That map should cover Indian subcontinent, Iran also, and then Europe. Already by this time you know that the contemporaries of Indus Valley civilization. Do you remember when Indus Valley civilization was flourishing here? What is the civilization that flourished in this part of the world? What is the name of this civilization? Mesopotamia civilization. And here, what is the civilization? Egyptian or Nile Valley, based on Nile Valley civilization, Egyptian civilization, Mesopotamian civilization, Indus Valley civilization. And here also Chinese civilization, Huang Ho civilization based on this river. Similarly, in this part of world also, gradually, it is not contemporary to this, but after some time, here a new culture is about to emerge, Greek culture. This was also called classical age. In our history optional, when it comes to sources, to understand the history of India, we have two types of sources. One is literary sources, another one is archaeological sources. When it comes to literary sources, we have Indian sources or indigenous sources, second one, foreign sources. These foreign sources means what Chinese people observed about India and what Iranian people observed India and what these Greek people observed India, what Roman people later, after some time, this entire part is going to be part of Roman Empire. And Roman authors also have written something about Indian subcontinent. So these foreign sources means Chinese sources, Greek sources, Roman sources. When it comes to medieval time period, we are going to see Persian sources, Arabic sources. So likewise, what the other countries are observing about India. When it comes to this particular time period, when it comes to during Mahajanapada time period and before the emergence of Mauryan, we call this period classical. Classical writers in Greek. So when you read any book, if you find Greek classical sources, means they are talking about contemporary to Mahajanapada time period or contemporary to Mauryan time period. They have observed about India, and this is also one of the important resource to understand about Indian history. Particularly, this Macedonian and Iranian invasions impact particularly on Indian history, because up to now we don't have specific timeline. Even when it comes to Buddha birth and death also, we don't have exact dates. Based on various texts, after comparing with various texts, then only we come to conclusion that probably in 563 or around that time period he was born, and 483 he died. And there are multiple versions also. Same is the case with the time period that happened before Buddha also. For example, we know when Mahabharata happened, we don't have time. When Ramayana happened, we don't have time. Broadly, we know that that happened during later Vedic time period, but exact dates we don't have. But due to these developments, first time we are going to compare that this incident, Mauryans belong to Alexander time period. So this exact comparison, exact dates we are able to corroborate, we are exactly we are able to understand that. So that is why even though questions have not come directly, but there are many things which are very, very important to understand our history here. As a first step, let us draw India map. Along with India, you need to give the space to have this side also. Draw this one. All right. Now, we need to have some idea about who are the contemporaries when Mahavira and Gautam Buddha were living. And to understand this, this is very, very important. This understanding, it is going to help you in almost every subject. You are going to see in ethics. In ethics, you are going to study about Buddha philosophy, Buddhism philosophy, and Jainism philosophy also, Charvaka philosophy also, Ajivaka. Similarly, when these things are going on, similar kind of ethical philosophies emerged in China also, in Iran also, and later after some time in Greece area also you are going to see. And particularly this time period laid the foundation for Western philosophy. Now for the first time in our history, we are going to see this kind of identities, like this kind of identities like Orientalism, the Eastern and Western. In modern India also, you are going to see that Anglo-Orientalist controversy. Any idea what is Anglo-Orientalist controversy? If some of you have read Modern India. Yes. So, Anglicized, Anglo-Orientalist, the Orientalist believe that the Eastern knowledge is far superior in comparison with Western knowledge. But Anglicists believe that Western knowledge is far superior than Eastern knowledge. So that is going to happen in 19th century. Anglo-Orientalist controversy we will study in 19th century. But here we are in which time period? When it comes to Alexander invasion, you draw this timeline also. This will give you complete idea that now I am taking 563 BC. This is the birth of Buddha. And then 483 BC, Buddha. We call death of Buddha, but in the language of Buddhism, Mahaparinirvana. Between this time period, 563, 483. Now this is also the time period rise of Magadha. When Magadha is emerging there in northwestern part of India, this is also the time period Achaemenid. Achaemenid invasion. So here in 510s, Achaemenid ruler Darius, he came to the northwestern part of India. So here, this is in 500 BC. Now around 500 BC, what is happening here? Now here Magadha, Bimbisara was ruling, Ajatashatru was ruling. then Kosala, then Buddha and Mahavira were living. In addition to that, not only Buddhism, Jainism, other philosophies like Charvaka philosophy, Ajivaka philosophy, we don't know exact timelines. But Ajivaka, Makkale Goshala, he is contemporary to Mahavira because for some time Makkale Goshala and Mahavira, they lived together. Ajivaka, Charvaka philosophy. You can see the rise of philosophies around this time period. Now, around this time period, politically, conquest, similarly, when these philosophies are emerging, politically, Magadha was expanding gradually. When it comes to philosophy, Zoroastrianism. This is Zoroastrianism also emerging. Zoroaster, he is also contemporary to Buddha. Now you see in 6th century BCE, these things are developing. Now when it comes to 500 Achaemenid invasion, then gradually 483, 326, 325. This was the time when Alexander versus Porus. Alexander reached northwestern part of India and battle also fought with Porus. Ambi, he was another ruler. He surrendered to Alexander without fight, but Porus, he gave stiff fight to Alexander. This was the development. Now you say this, 483 to 326, 563, Buddha, Mahavira, philosophies emerged, Zoroastrianism emerged. In between, in Greece also, many philosophies are emerging. Here, if we take this, and you know, Judaism, any idea when Judaism, Jews, and many of the problems today also persist in West Asia, that also has the roots around this time period only. By this time already in this part, Judaism also there. In fact, Judaism did not born around Buddha. It was contemporary to Vedic period. Early Vedic. So when early Vedic period emerging around 1500 to 1000 BC, around this time period, Judaism also, the roots of Judaism also there from 1500 BC. Now you see this, by 1000 BC, by 600 BC, now you have more strong roots of Vedic religion. And after 1000 years, you are going to see the reaction to even to Vedic religion, because some evils entered into this Vedic religion, and as a opposition, some new philosophies also emerged. Now you can expect a similar kind of pattern that would have happened here also. But anyway, Judaism also, like Vedic tradition is continuing, it is going to reform. Similarly here, Judaism is also there. In Jewish history, there are two things. One is first temple and second temple concept. Because these are very, very controversial. Even today also, the politics of West Asia are determined based on these things. First temple, second temple means, now here early Vedic time period is happening in this period. When it comes to later Vedic, Mahabharata, Ramayana, those things were happening. Around this period, in Judaism also, they built one temple called temple, first temple. They consider it as a first temple. But it was the age of continuous expansion also. We are seeing that like Magadha is expanding, other countries, other kingdoms are expanding, continuously expanding. Same is the case with here also, continuous wars and battles used to take place, everyone expanding their territories. In one of those wars and battles, this first temple was destroyed. And as a result, Judaism means the main area is the present-day Israel region, Jerusalem region. And from there onwards, they started migrating to other areas. Some of them forcefully migrated, some of them they wanted to migrate for peace and stability. For example, it is not something new even today also. Just you come here today. Russia and Ukraine war is going on. Whenever war happens, Ukraine people are moving to neighboring countries. They are going to Belarus, they are going to Poland, they are going to Romania, other place. But they will not stay in Ukraine because it is very difficult to live in war atmosphere. Same thing when wars and battles were going on, they also went to new places. Some of them were taken as captives. Initially, this first temple was destroyed before the emergence of Achaemenid Empire. Later, when Achaemenid Empire expanded to this territory, later they are going to build second temple, and Achaemenid rulers allowed Jewish people to follow their religion, and that's why some of the Iranian rulers considered even like the great, like we are calling, when so many religion sects were there, Ashoka tried to follow Dhamma, that is for living, for making the conditions peaceful for every type of idea. That's why we call Ashoka the Great. Similarly, some of the Achaemenid rulers like Darius the Great, Cyrus the Great, we use the term the Great. It is not only for their military expansion, but also for the religious policies which they followed. And one of the rulers, he was very tolerant and he allowed Jewish people to continue their practices and even to repair their temples also. That is how these first temple, second temple concepts also emerged during this time period. But this tradition is going to be continuously, whenever new empires come, Jewish people felt threat and they used to migrate to different places. That is how Jewish people migrated throughout the world. That is how even today also, and it is continuous till Second World War. And in Second World War, Hitler, he also persecuted Jews. And finally, they wanted their homeland back after independence, after Second World War. That is how in 1948, separate country called Israel was created for the Jewish diaspora. The roots of this problem goes to, again, whatever we are talking today, Mahajanapada time period only. So from that time period onwards, in fact, one interesting fact is, Jewish people, they migrated to other countries. They even came to India also. Even to India also, some of the Jewish people came. Do you know Saint Thomas? Have you heard Saint Thomas in our history? Who is Saint Thomas? How he is important to Indian history? Any idea? Saint Thomas, he is considered as the person who brought Christianity to India. When he came, Christianity means that should be in the timeline. This should be like this, 30 AD and thereafter 50 AD, 50, 60 AD, around that time period. So here around this time period, Christianity comes. Around this time period, Christianity came to India also. By the time Saint Thomas came to India, already some Jewish people were there. Because Saint Thomas, when he came to India, when he reached Kerala, he was invited, or a Jewish girl, she played flute, and with that she invited Saint Thomas. That means much before this, Jewish people already there. So this migration is happening from this time period onwards. So whenever you study in modern, in old history also, we are going to study problem of Israel-Palestinian and also the Suez Canal crisis and Middle East wars and battles, various problems. Even today in current affairs also you will find, in international relations you will get. That's why this particular time period is very, very crucial to understand many things. In your general studies also, ethics are going to come. In ethics, you are going to see the foundation in this period only, both in eastern part as well as western part. This is the time, 326-325, Alexander reached. Achaemenid invasions, Buddha death here. Now come here. Zoroastrianism, Judaism. Around this time period, before the emergence of Alexander, like in 500s, 400s and 300s, people like, even if you go to 800s, we have seen like the contemporary to Mahabharata, Odyssey, the person name is Homer. Do you know who is the father of history? Any idea? Who is the person? Father of history? Herodotus. Very good. Herodotus. He was also belonged to this region, this geographic location. Then, have you heard Pythagoras theorem in mathematics? Very famous. Pythagoras. Pythagoras theorem. Pythagore. And the founder of Western philosophy, Socrates. He was also living. And his student, Plato. He was also living. Now you see, these are only few important people. There are so many such people that were flourishing in 500, 400, 300 before the emergence of Alexander. And later, Aristotle is going to come. After Plato, Aristotle will come. Aristotle was the teacher of Alexander. So Aristotle. Now you can see, by 300 BC, philosophies are emerging not only in India, in every part of the world. And here, when it comes to this, Confucius. Confucius, Lao. So Taoism, Confucius. In China also philosophies are emerging. In India already now Brahmanical, or you can say Upanishadic philosophy. Upanishadic philosophy is rising. Buddhism, Jainism, Ajivaka, Charvaka. These are the things you are going to study in ethics. In 6th century BC, from there onwards, all these philosophies are going to spread to different parts of Indian subcontinent. In China, these philosophies are emerging. In Iran, Zoroastrianism is emerging. Already Judaism is there. And till now there is no Christianity, no Islam. Christianity is about to come in 20 AD or 30 AD, if you see the lifetime of Jesus. And when it comes to Islam, Islam is going to come in 600 ADs. That means almost we are 1000 years earlier, before the rise of Islam. As of now, there is no Christianity, no Islam. But remaining aspects you are going to see here. In China, in India, in Iran, in Israel region, in Greece. Particularly in Greece, now you see the philosophies. And it shows this tradition of philosophy. This became so much important to this particular land. Similarly, like this eastern part. Now, for the first time, you are going to see this. This is called Western philosophy, and these are called Eastern philosophies. Eastern philosophies are very much, there was continuous interaction between these two also. About India, Greece people know about India, and about these people also, Indians also might be knowing. One problem about Indian records are, these people recorded about India, but we don't have proper records about these people. Because we don't have our own records about our own history itself. That's why it is very difficult to know how Indians were thinking about these people and these people. But we have references how Iranian people were, how they know about India and how Greece people knew about India. This is the context. Under these conditions, Alexander was born. Now, this tradition is going to influence Alexander also. That is why this is going to be one of the reasons why Alexander wanted to conquer India also. You write up to here, then I will continue. Please let me know once it is done. Okay, done. Shall I continue? All right. So first we will see this one, then we will come to this part. Iranian invasion. You draw only northwestern part. This is the empire. Gandhara region annexed by them. This entire part came under them, Achaemenid Empire. Gandhara, and you draw, let us give the name, Sindhu River, Indus River. Achaemenid called this particular province as Hind province. Hind satrapy. Now you see how India is getting the name Hind, Hindustan. That is why this particular phase is very, very crucial to understand, because for the first time we are going to see the identities to this geographic location, to this geographic location, and to this geographic location. And up to now, people were migrating, and we don't have historical records how one area people were thinking about other people. Now by this time period, now Gandhara was conquered by Darius. Darius I, Gandhara conquest by Darius in 516 BC. Darius the Great, he was the Achaemenid ruler. He conquered Gandhara region in 516 BC. Now you can think, in 516 BC, here Buddha was living. Buddha, Magadha kingdom. Magadha, Buddha, Mahavira. So when Magadha is expanding in this area, Achaemenid people were expanding into this area. Gandhara region also was conquered and it became part of their province. Satrapy means it's a province. And they considered Sindh region as Sindh becomes S becomes H. Now it became Hind. Now this one, Parisian traditions. Here, Indian traditions. Traditions means it could be political, it could be economic, it could be social, it could be culture, religion, philosophies. By this time period itself, now you are seeing so many philosophies. A kind of Indian identity is emerging. Here, a kind of Parisian identity is emerging. And later, in later time period, people are going to inspire from this particular time period. Particularly, you try to remember this particular period because it is very, very crucial. Even though Islam emerges, later Islam, today most of the people in this part accepted Islam as the religion. But despite that, the Parisian traditions continues. Same is the case with India also. Whether you are a Buddhist, Jaina, Hindu or Islam, Muslim or Christian, a unique style of Indian way of life emerges. Indian traditions will continue. Your religion may be different, but Indianness will be common thread in all the religions. Same is the case here also. These Parisian traditions, Iranian people, they take pride from Parisian tradition, Achaemenid Empire. Because for the first time in the history of Persia or Iran, it is one of the glorious periods in Iranian history. That's why they always take inspiration from this. Like we take inspiration from Mauryans, because it is one of the glorious periods in our history. We take pride in Gupta's glorious period. We take pride in Mughals' glorious period. Because whenever expanded large territories and when unique culture established during that time period, every people take inspiration from that period. Even though religion is going to become later different, still they take Parisian traditions. This is going to be very, very important because later when Central Asian people come here, whether it is Turks, best example Turks from Central Asia, when they come here, initially they were brought as slaves to this land. They were converted to Islam. By the time Islam was there, Islam. So they are ethnically Central Asian people, religion-wise Islam, but tradition-wise Parisian culture. This is what this tradition they are going to bring to India. That is why whether Delhi Sultanates, whether Mughals, they are going to patronage Parisian traditions, not the Arabic tradition. You have to see, Saudi Arabia is this, and this is the location where Islam is about to, this is Islam. Islam reaches Iran, but already Zoroastrianism or Parisian traditions are very strong. They take religion Islam from Saudi Arabia, but when it comes to language, they take Parisian language. When it comes to kingship theory, they follow Parisian theory of kingship. Even the Central Asian people, Turkish people about to come, when they come here, they adopt Islam as the religion, but Parisian traditions. And these Parisian traditions, when they come to India, they are going to use Parisian language. That's why in medieval time period, court language is Parisian. Earlier, like during Mashoka time period, Brahmi script, Prakrit language. Later, Sanskrit is going to become court language. In medieval time period, Parisian language is the court language. How this Parisian comes? From Iran region. And that is going to take place now. It is shaping from now onwards. Zoroastrianism about to come to India. So many traditions, because of the close geographic proximity, Iranian traditions are going to influence India. Naturally, Indian traditions are also going to influence Iranians. Up to now, right here. And now this side, they used to fight with Greeks. And this side, they used to fight with Indian kingdoms. They used to fight with Greeks. So now these are the developments in 400s and 500s. So this is the context. Now I am coming back to how UPSC, our examination, in what way we have to utilize this content for the examination. Here, from our examination point of view, they will ask like, what is the impact of Achaemenid? Now Gandhara became part of Achaemenid Empire. What is the impact on Indian culture? From the cultural aspect, this is very, very important. Now you give the heading, Impact of Parisian Invasions. Impact of Parisian invasions. We are going to give different political impact, economic impact, social impact, cultural, religious. This is very, very important from the culture point of view. This is very crucial for our history examination point of view particularly. This is the political development. And because of these developments, how in Indian history this affected this sphere, socially, culturally, religious-wise, what kind of effects this particular development had. And now, when it comes to political development, in northwestern part of India, satrapy system was introduced. It was the term for province, satrapy system. And politically, this area is going to become very sensitive. Now, once this becomes part of Achaemenid Empire, now naturally you are going to see the conflicts here. And later, people are going to come. They have showed the path how to conquer these regions. Now, after that, Parisians, it became part of it. Later, Greeks are going to come here. Later, Shakas, Kushanas, Hunas, many people are going to come because this area is going to become very vulnerable for the foreign invasions. That is why this area is in a junction. This side Central Asia, this side West Asia, this side India. Whenever you have such kind of location, strategically it is going to be very, very important for any people. Even today also, they are facing the similar problem. Afghanistan, even today also, it is unstable because of its geographic location. Whoever control this area, they can have control over this, they can have control over this, they can have control over this. Because it is a matter of time, if you are strong in this, then whatever policies that are going to take place here, it affects naturally this land, and this land. And the same is the case why British wanted to, even much before that. For example, let us take Turkish people came here and they conquered Indian subcontinent. Mughals reached here, they conquered Indian subcontinent. This is why even Russians also wanted to control this during British time period. As a result of that, Britishers were involving in the Afghan Empire. But Afghanistan is such a place where it is easy to conquer but very difficult to administer. And as a result, even British Empire also had to come back. Later, in 1979, we are talking about 20th century, Russia also involves USSR. Again, it was defeated, went back. Just recently, just a few years ago, 2020, America, USA, involved in the Afghanistan war, again, they had to go back. In every reason, why USSR wanted to control this, why USA wanted to control, why British Empire wanted to control, same reason. If you control this area, you will have control over this, you will have this, you will have control over this. Because this is such a strategically located place, and also it is very hilly area, and it becomes very easy if you can control this, then you can have some kind of control over this. But again, it is very difficult to consolidate this. Always wars and battles used to take place here. Because it is such a location where three powers, this side also looking, this side also looking, this side also looking. In this location, wars and battles are very natural. Throughout history, it is happening. Now, once Iranian Achaemenid Empire conquered this, it is not going to be stabilized. Continuous wars and battles we are going to see. You write this point next. Satrapy provincial system. It showed path. It showed path to Greeks, Shakas, Kushanas, and we are talking about ancient India. That's why I am limiting to Kushanas. Later, it's a continuous process. Later, Hunas will come. Later, Turkish people will come. Later, Mughals will come. And this is how political impact. So it becomes politically very vulnerable area. Politically, this is the one. And when this threat is there, politically, third point you can write, defense system increased. Achaemenid, they ensured strong defenses. Often we are going to see this point. You will just to particularly remember this particular development. I will give another example. Now, when this area becomes a part of Achaemenid Empire, they are expanding the defense system. In medieval time period, when Balban was ruling, this side, Mongol threat was there. When Mongols were conquering this area, now Balban enhanced defense system. This is medieval time period. Now come back to the Mauryan time period. After this Achaemenid Empire, Greeks are going to become continuously, these Greeks are going to completely annihilate this Achaemenid system. Again, Mauryans versus Greeks, again fights. So Greeks versus Mauryans we will see. Then Greeks versus Shungas we will see. Hunas versus Guptas you will see. Then Turks versus Rajputs you will see. Only names are changing, but geography remains the same. Turks versus Rajputs. Then these Turks will come to India. Now this place replaced by Mongols. So Mongols versus Turks. Now later, Mughals versus Delhi Sultanate. Mughals versus Delhi Sultanate. So likewise, this particular area is going to be vulnerable. Throughout history, we see these conflicts. It is going to impact for the rest of our history. Politically, that is, whoever controls this, that's why even Akbar also, Mughals know very well the importance of Afghanistan region. Mughals always try to maintain strong defense system near Kandahar region because they know that it is the gateway to India. Our history is teaching this. This is defense. Now, economic impact. Economic impact. This is very fertile land, Indus region. As a result, trade improved. Trade improved. Connectivity improved. Connectivity improved. Achaemenid also introduced coinage. Coinage system helped. Around this time period, what type of coins Indians were using? What type of coins Indians were using in Mahajanapada time period? Punch-marked coins. When it comes to punch-marked coins, there is no name of the king. There is no date on the coins. But when it comes to these, we are going to see later. Now this tradition continues here. Later Indo-Greeks, Greeks will come. They also will give coinage system. So in this area, coinage is going to become very common. And this coinage system is going to help us to reconstruct our Indian history. Coinage. Now I am writing here social system. In next slide, I will write religion and culture. Social. It became melting pot. That means it is a place where all types of elements will come and merge. Melting pot of various people from Central Asia, Iran, India. From all the sides, people will keep coming and merging. Second one, urbanization improved. And in fact, of all the provinces in the Achaemenid Empire, Sindh province is very, very fertile region and it was giving huge revenue to the Achaemenid Empire. That is why Sindh, everyone wants to conquer Sindh region. Already we have seen in Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization, they flourished a lot. Urban areas flourished in the Indus zone. Why that happened? Because Indus region is very fertile. Agriculture improves and artisan activities increases, then trading activities increase, urban areas also increase. Now Achaemenid Empire, now once it becomes a part of Achaemenid Empire, standardized coinage system, standardized administration, standardized political system established. As a result, urbanization also improved in this particular part of Indian subcontinent. Example, Takshila. Takshila becomes very famous, and by this time Takshila University also going to flourish for so many centuries. Already during Gandhara Mahajanapada time period itself, Takshila is one of the important locations. Now with this, Takshila is going to become even more powerful. Takshila University, this university naturally it attracts from Indians also, Parisians also, Central Asians also. Takshila University. Next one, cultural exchange. Cultural. And this side, they were following one script. This side, we were following one script. This side, Aramaic script. Aramaic is Iranian script. Brahmi script, Indian. And combination, Kharosthi script. Combination, Kharosthi script. In northwestern part, Kharosthi script emerged. And this Kharosthi script is, Brahmi script is written from left to right, but Kharosthi script is written from right to left. Written from right to left. Later we are going to see Arabic also, right to left. Even today also Arabic, right to left side. And later Ashoka, when Ashoka Maurya comes, he issued inscriptions in this Kharosthi script only. How this Kharosthi script emerged? Interaction between Iran and Indian tradition. Next one, language. Some Iranian terms. In India. For example, Ashoka used the term Lipi. Indian. It came from BP from Iran. So Iranian traditions, how Indian tradition and Iranian tradition merging a new type. For example, in medieval time period, Persian language plus Hindi language. What is the new language that emerged? Hindi plus Persian. Combination in medieval time, very famous language. What is the language emerged? Very good. Urdu. Urdu is the combination of Indian side Hindi and Persian side Persian language in medieval time period. Same is the case in ancient time. Brahmi script and Aramaic script, Kharosthi script emerged. So likewise, our Indian history is not only Indian history, everywhere throughout the world history, this interaction is very, very natural one. Continuously, human history continues to evolve. Next one, cultural, script-wise, language-wise we have seen, and later artistic. Artistic expressions. By the time post-Mauryan time period comes, Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, and also Indo-Greek, completely a new type of style called Gandhara style. This style will have Indian traditions, Greek traditions, Persian traditions. So Indian plus Persian plus Greek traditions. So it continues to evolve. Then last one, religion. Zoroastrianism. Influence of Zoroastrianism in northwestern part of India. So this is how continuous interaction is going to take place. As the time changes, a new type of languages, new type of architectures, new type of literature is going to continuously evolve. This is about the impact of Persian, and you can give one more term in culture, or you give separately that in the end. Name Hind for India. Also given by the Persians, because they used to call Sindh province as Ind province, and they used to call the people as Hind people. And from there gradually Sindh province, later that term became very common, and they applied that term for entire Indian subcontinent beyond Indus region. You give the conclusion, just one conclusion, and with this we will end this. Achaemenid annexation of Gandhara. Write one sentence. The Achaemenid annexation of Gandhara was not merely a territorial expansion, was not merely a territorial expansion, but a catalyst, for a series of for a series of socio-cultural comma economic and political changes in the region. Political changes in the region. Full stop. The fusion of Parisian administrative efficiency with rich cultural traditions of Gandhara left an important mark on the annals of Indian history. Annals of Indian history. This conclusion you can write almost everywhere. Turkish, Persian invasions, Turkish impact, Mughals, whenever this cultural fusion takes place, you can use this. These are the developments up to now this side. 500 BC to 300 BC. Or let me give this one. You give the next heading, Macedonian invasion. Then we will write this. This part is particularly very interesting that in history optional, in this topic so far question was not given. But it is very interesting to know that in general studies they have asked the question on this topic. So it shows the importance. Either you will get question in general studies paper 1 or in history optional. But in history optional as of now it was not given. But we don't know how UPSC will give questions in future. But in GS already this question was asked. In terms of Gandhara art and architecture, you have to trace those Gandhara art and architecture to this particular time period. Macedonian invasions. Now you draw the India map. This side you have to show this. Greece is here, Achaemenid here, India. Here, Parisians, Greeks, they used to fight. fight up to 500s and 400s, they are very powerful. There is one English movie called 300. If some of you might have watched, the movie name is 300. That 300 movie shows the conflicts between Persian and Greeks. In that movie, you will find the conflicts between Greeks and Persians. This story is before the emergence of Alexander. By 330s, Alexander will come. Alexander. Now, Alexander started conquest towards the east side. Now, up to now, Persians were very powerful. They were expanding in this direction, in this direction. By 300, Alexander became powerful. Around the same time, here, Nandas. Nandas are also very powerful. They were also expanding territory. Nanda imperialism, Achaemenid imperialism, Alexander imperialism. If you see the kingdom name, these are the dynasties, cultural names. This is Magadha kingdom, Magadhan empire. And this is Achaemenid. Empire name. Magadha empire is expanding. Achaemenid empire is expanding. Here, Macedonia. Like 16 Mahajanapadas. Here, not only the Magadha was there, many Mahajanapadas were there. Similarly, in Persia also there were so many kingdoms. Out of it, Achaemenid empire became powerful. And here also in Greece, there were so many small kingdoms. Macedonia is about to unite them, and it is going to become very powerful one. And in that movie, Spartans, very good. So there was one kingdom called Sparta. So that 300 movie shows how brave Spartans were. So there were so many such small kingdoms. They used to fight amongst themselves. Later, when Persian invasions came and all these small kingdoms united, and a new identity, Greek identity, emerged. And with that, when Alexander emerged and he wanted to conquer these lands. Now we are in 300. By this 300 time period, so many developments have taken place in this land and in this land. And in this land also, so many philosophers, so many literate people, they already know some details about India. Even though in history optional question will not come directly about, as of now question did not come like Alexander invasions, but indirectly already questions were asked on foreign accounts about India. In sources, in chapter sources, we have foreign sources. How important foreign sources to understand about Indian history? And the question was, whatever they are saying, it is not the truth. And historians have to differentiate between what is exact history and what is the legend. Legend means these Greek people used to imagine about India. Because these people did not reach India, they did not observe India. They only hear the stories about India, and whatever stories they have heard, they used to record in their books. Even for example, Megasthenes, he came to Mauryan court. Despite Megasthenes stayed in Pataliputra, in his own book, we see so many exaggerations. So many things which are not there in reality. But there are other people who did not reach India, they don't know about India directly. They used to use Megasthenes account as the reference and they used to write. This is in 300. And before 300 also, so many people, they know about India through Persian contact only. You have to see this part. Greek people, they did not have direct contact with India. But whatever they know about India, through Persia only. And by the time stories reach here, the true nature of the story might change. And they used to talk so many things. But India, Hind region is very much famous for its wealth. By this time, so many legends, Greek stories about India. Now we are talking about Alexander lifetime. In Alexander lifetime, when Alexander was a child, he used to hear these stories and how they used to portray India. They used to portray India like they used to explain about wealth of India. And who wrote these stories? The term in our history we call classical writers. For example, Herodotus, we consider him as father of history. Herodotus, father of history. And he has recorded some things about India. Similarly, other historians also recorded some developments about India. They used to talk about wealth of India. And this is what there. And these stories inspired Alexander to reach India. They talk about wealth of India. Now you see, India is Bharata tribe. When it comes to Persia, it became Hind. They know about India through Persia and this Hind became Ind. So West Ind it became India, Hind, Bharat. So this is how India is getting the names. Wealth of India they talked about because Sindh region is very fertile. Persians used to use this wealth to fight against the Greeks. And that is how they used to know about wealth of India. And there are so many such stories. They talk about mountains. They talk about hills. They talk about plants, people. And sometimes they were so much exaggerated sometimes. For example, they used to portray India as land of miracles. And sometimes they used to portray like there was so much gold in India and there were ants. And these ants were gold digging ants. So these are the legends. In reality, nothing will happen like this. But this is how they used to imagine India. So it was rich. Now you can imagine this. This we are in 300 BC. By 330, 340 BC itself, these stories emerged. Now you can think why Turkish Ghazni raids so many times, 17 times Ghazni raids. Delhi Sultanate, Turkish people invasions, Mughal invasions, British invasions. So throughout history, India is known for the wealth. And this is what it inspires the invaders to come and invade India. During Alexander time period also, this is the image of India in other part of the world. You write up to here, then I will continue the impact of. Now we have to see similar way, like impact of Parisians we have seen. Now impact of Alexander also we have to see. Please write up to here. Have you written this? If anyone is writing this, first you do this, then you do this one. Yes, Tarun. Greek people used to quote, people living in hills used to have big ears, 8 fingers in each feet, yes. And they used to portray like on hills, there were people with the feet backward. So whatever we can say, these are the Panchatantra stories, whatever we consider, Jataka stories, Panchatantra stories, they recorded them as the real history. So that is how there was a question in recent years only, historian have to differentiate what is truth, what is legend. You please let me know if it is done, then you write this one. All of you have drawn this one? This map is important to understand this. All of you done this slide? All right. Now you note down this. Please let me know if it is done. Next heading, why did Alexander wanted to conquer India? All of you done this? Yes, done. Okay, good. You give the heading. Why did Alexander want to conquer India? This question applies to everywhere in our history. You can just simply replace. Why did Alexander want to conquer India? Why did Gori wanted to conquer India? Why did Babur want to conquer India? Why did British want to conquer India? You can apply this because this framework is common. Whether it is 300 BC, whether it is 3000 AD, almost these emotions are going to be same. First one, quest for world domination. Quest for world domination. Almost throughout our history, you can, any war, behind any war, these causes are going to be almost common. Unless the ruler is very enlightened one, despite having the power to conquer, if he doesn't conquer, that is a secondary. But like Hitler, why he wanted to conquer, why Napoleon wanted to conquer, everyone. Quest for world domination. Quest for world domination. You give this. And why he wanted to reach India means, in ancient Greek tradition, write one point. In ancient Greek tradition, the extent of the world at the time, the knowledge of geography is very poor. Today we have each and every part of the world we can see. But that time, the knowledge about geography itself very limited. The extent of the world was believed. The extent of the world was believed to stretch from Europe to India. So they were feeling that, Alexander was feeling, Europe, Persia, then India. That was the world, known world. And after conquering Persia, if he conquer India, that means world conquest. Believed to stretch from Europe to India. And they considered India is the easternmost boundary of the world. He considered that India was the easternmost boundary of the world. By conquering India, he believed entire world will be conquered. So that is his inspiration. Second one. And in his childhood, he heard so many such stories, and he wanted to see India, and he wanted to touch Indian land. Inspiration from earlier texts. One point. The writers like Herodotus, like Herodotus painted a picture of India as a land of wonders, immense wealth, unique creatures, including gold digging ants, and giant serpents. Alexander, he felt inspired. He felt the greatness of India. Earlier writers, classical writers, projected India as land of wealth, gold, land of wonders, so many philosophers, magics. So he wanted to reach that land. He was so much curious about India. And this curiosity is almost universal. Even during 16th, 14th centuries, this same curiosity only made Vasco da Gama search for land, ocean routes. Columbus wanted to reach India, in fact, but instead of India, he reached western part. That's why they named West Indies. You can see this. Why British wanted to control India? Again, same reason. And even today also, this is the same inspiration. That's why today we are independent country. This is where foreign policy comes into play. Other countries wanted to control India, but as independent country, we have to take care of it. We have to protect our land and wealth. Economic motivations. Third one. Economic motivations. This is universal. Even during British time period also, drain of wealth we saw. So same thing. Economic motivations. One point. India was known for its wealth. India was known for its wealth. Controlling India means controlling trade, resources, and wealth. Same, British also did. They controlled India. They have taken the raw materials from India. They came to India, they dumped their manufactured products and they used as a market. Economic motivations. Next one. Intellectual curiosity. Intellectual curiosity. And you can see before Alexander itself, so many philosophers in Greece, and they laid the foundation for the Western philosophy. It also shows another indicator that Greek people were very much interested in knowledge. Greek people were very much interested in knowing about new things. Same is the case with India also. That is why Indian land could produce literature like Rig Veda, later Vedic, and so many such literature emerged because Indians are also very much curious about knowing other world, knowing about knowledge. Indians also very much interested in knowing what is reality, what is truth, what is beyond, how this universe came. This intellectual curiosity. Greece people also same thing. Intellectually, they are very curious. Give 1 point. Ancient Greeks were driven by, because they are curious, Indian land is also very curious, it is matching their interest. India is already known for its knowledge. Greek people are interested in knowing the knowledge. That's why they wanted to reach the land of knowledge. Ancient Greeks, driven by the desire to learn and explore. To learn and explore the world. India with its distinct culture, philosophy and traditions attracted Hellenistic intellectual curiosity. So you write this particular term Hellenistic, that means classical Greek. Hellenistic, like when it comes to British time period, they used to call one particular term, like British traditions everywhere. Pax Britannica. Pax Britannica means everywhere British traditions. When it comes to Roman Empire, Pax Romania. Roman Empire traditions everywhere. Now the term like Pax Americana, that means American traditions everywhere. In those times, Greek tradition, the term they used was Hellenistic. Hellenistic people means classical Greek people. They wanted to explore the knowledge. They were very much interested naturally. India is the land of philosophy, knowledge. They wanted to reach India. Very good. Shashi Tharoor has written a book called Pax Indica. It is also same, Indian traditions in different parts of the world. Hellenistic. So he was very much curious. The evidence is Alexander, when he reached northwestern part of India, he personally approached some philosophers, approached some saints. By this time period, sannyasi tradition is very common. During 6th century BC itself, sannyasi tradition. For example, Buddha and Mahavira, they left their homes. They became sannyasin. Sannyasi tradition is very common. In 300 BC, the tradition continued. Even today also we see the sannyasin. This intellectual curiosity of Alexander, evidence is after conquering the lands, he personally meet philosophers and he talked with them. You write this. Alexander's own encounters with Indian ascetics and philosophers. Alexander's own encounters with Indian ascetics and philosophers highlight this interest. So this is about the causes why he wanted. And these causes almost you can apply for everywhere in our history. The next heading, impact of Alexander's invasion when he came here. In this part, so many small monarchies, republics were there. So first you give political impact. Political impact. Alexander invasion. Alexander's invasion led to the overthrow of several local dynasties. Several local dynasties. Overthrow of several local dynasties. He weakened powerful rulers like Porus. Before him, Porus was one of the powerful rulers. After defeating Porus, even though he gave back his kingdom, but still his power declined. He weakened power. Overthrew, he weakened. It gave an opportunity. After Alexander here, Chandragupta Maurya, Mauryan Empire establishment. When Chandragupta Maurya became the emperor, and it became easy for him to conquer these territories. That's why after the death of Alexander, these parts, northwestern parts of India became part of Mauryan Empire. It helped Chandragupta Maurya to conquer northwestern part of India. As a result of this, for the first time in our history, Mauryan Empire reached northwestern part, and almost entire Indian subcontinent came under single authority, that is Mauryans. Political impact. Next one, military impact. Military impact. Indians learned the techniques of the military tactics. Learn the military tactics of Greeks. Next one, economic impact. Economic impact. Now in between, earlier there was Persia in between. Now there is no Persian. Entire from Europe to, this is Europe, this is Iran, this is India. Earlier there was Achaemenid Empire. Now there is no Achaemenid Empire. From Europe to India, continuous single empire. Now you can see from this end to this end, you can see the trade interaction, economic transactions, economic impact. Trade routes strengthened. Trade routes strengthened between India and Europe. India and Europe. For the first time, Europe directly came in contact with India. For first time, Europe directly came in contact with India. Next, introduction of Greek coinage. Introduction of Greek coinage. For the first time, Europeans directly conquered Indian territory. And after this, Europeans and Indians no direct connection, but after 14th century and 15th century, when Vasco da Gama discovered the route, Portuguese, they are going to conquer Indian territories later. For example, Goa, it became part of Portuguese Empire. So at that time only, once again, Europeans directly are going to conquer India. But this is for the first time. And later, Europe and India, no direct touch, only through Parisian and later many other rulers. But this is the first time when Europe and India directly came in contact. Next one, knowledge about geography. Knowledge about geography. Alexander was deeply interested in geography. Alexander was deeply interested in geography. Many locations in northwestern part of India were explored. Explored. A sea route was also explored from Sindh to West Asia. From Sindh to West Asia. Next one, knowledge about history. Knowledge about Indian history. Alexander's historians used to write about his conquests. Historians left valuable historical accounts on India. Historical records about India. For example, Chandragupta Maurya, they used to call Chandrakotas. That is how we could compare that Chandrakotas is Chandragupta Maurya. They mentioned about women conditions like sati, slavery, and slavery. Arts and crafts. Arts and crafts. Importance of bulls in agriculture. All these aspects they recorded, and it helped us to reconstruct our own history. Next, last one, cultural impact. Cultural impact. Hellenistic influence. Hellenistic influence in the form of Gandhara School of Art, Gandhara School of Art. That's why Buddha, in Gandhara School of Art, Buddha looks like Greek gods. That shows the influence of Greeks. Hellenistic influence. Then exchange of philosophical ideas. Exchange of philosophical ideas. Many ideas, like for example, astronomy. Greek people were good in astronomy. Suppose if you take today's solar system, whatever the names of the planets, most of them are inspired by Greek gods. They are very good in astronomy. In India also, Indians are also going to inspire from this astronomical culture. Exchange of philosophical ideas. And last one, legacy. Legacy of Alexander. Alexander exploits inspired so many people throughout history. Whoever military conqueror, they used to compare with Alexander. And even in India also, Alexander influenced so many military conquerors, and he became a legend. So everyone wants to, in military exploits, everyone wants to reach the feet of Alexander. He became a legend, and even some of the rulers take the title of Alexander also. In Indian history, Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin Khalji took the title as Second Alexander. Sikandar, in Indian tradition, he was called Sikandar. Sikandarai Sani. Alauddin Khalji used to consider himself as Second Alexander. He took the title. He inspired so many people. Very good, Tarun. V.A. Smith, he has written book Early History of India. Almost 1/3 of V.A. Smith, almost 1/3 of the book is about Alexander conquest only. So that is how Alexander became a legend. He inspired, even for the British people who conquer India, they take inspiration from Alexander. Napoleon takes Alexander. Julius Caesar, Roman Empire later, takes inspiration from Alexander. Russian emperors, you can see the names of the Russian czars, Alexander, Tsar. So many people throughout Indian history. Last conclusion, single line. He was there only for very small. He conquered northwestern part of India. He wanted to conquer rest of India also, but his own military people, they were resisting, because already he started in 330s, and by 320s they were almost 10 years continuous march. The soldiers of Alexander, they were tired, and they were afraid of Indian elephants also in the warfare, and they wanted to go back. But even though is very limited, but impact is very huge. You write this statement. While Alexander's invasion was brief and limited, but consequences were profound. Profound. Here we will stop today. All right. Next class we will meet on Monday. Monday we will have the class, not tomorrow, Monday. All right. Thank you. We will meet on Monday. All right. Thank you, all of you.